to do.
Yeah, and I mean, they had to bail the entire situation, right? Like, there is still a trio in retail if that brute is going to be engaging, but they had to leave the card behind. So that's it. They cannot get Benji, and now they have to kind of reassess. Thankfully, no one came here, and it's good that this happens because this gives them a little more time to, like, readjust and come up with a new plan of attack, right? Like, there's no way they're going back to try and get the card. It's just not going to happen. So now they have to go in as two.
It's expired by this time. Yeah,
there's nothing. It's over, you know?
Yeah. And you can see still, again, trying to rotate away from the brute herd. Kind of, sort of. You keep seeing Micho trying to look for maybe a cheeky snipe onto someone. Kenzel picking up Nate there, but it's really just unfortunate because that's one of the things where your game plan ends up being thrown off by that and you're just not able to...
Segundito, chavales. Ahora hablo, ¿vale? Se escucha muy fuerte, muy fuerte.
The question is, how strong is their mental game? As we now hop on board with Chapek's
Se escucha muy fuerte o...
hanging out on him right now. That means he has a little bit of additional speed, and of course, as I explained it, it wears off. But some more brute gameplay coming through. Shots coming on for Chapek's, getting some tags in there. As you can see, both teams not really wanting to let that continue to run around.
Vamos a ver la World Cup, chicos, ¿vale? Si no os molesta.
I like that Chapek's is being fearless, right? Like, he's just completely out in the open, sending shots out because he's so confident in his play. Right now, it looks like they're going to potentially look to contest now. Watch the minimap. You've already got the trio that was in the brute. They're fighting another trio they were trying to just engage with. These guys should absolutely look to third party. Watch the left Beehive crew. They're already sending shots out. The builds are pretty dense right now, so you can't get anything in, but at least you can cause chaos, right? You can try to get them off and set them a little on edge. Daedra's there. Exo, Nyx, Frey, Deuce 1X as well. Man, what is my brain doing today? I don't know. But now they're going to look to close the gap. They have 9 grenades, Sundown. They just need to start sending these in.
Nope. Hold your grenades.
You think?
100%. Like, so you could just send them in towards that double fine, but like everyone has seen the clips going on this large.
Deja tu live, brother.
Somebody who's boxed up in wood and just wait. And as I say that, Chapek's is like, nah, I see 6 people. We'll just go now. He says, your analysis doesn't matter. You are irrelevant.
Estamos viendo la World Cup, ¿vale? Que está hoy la final del torneo de trío y la estamos viendo, ¿vale? Así que ahora un momento leo y ahora lo comparto. Vale.
Connecting once with the infantry rifle crew, however, will pick up Frey, and that's important because Frey was the other trio who had contested, which means it's a solo and now one other player who is there, so they effectively have a 3v2 if they're able to drop down. However, Mongrel in the Elam feed also picking up X8, so they're getting in on that action. You can see Deuce.
Vale, voy a estar mirando para allá, ¿vale? Porque ahí es donde tengo... Yo estoy viendo ahí la partida, ¿vale? Ahora os leo, chicos, un segundo.
And Chapek's wanted this. The moment they started to crank those 90s, he said, let's go to the sky, baby. I would like to take this engagement. It is a 3v2 right now. Deuce is holding that high ground. But look at the way Crew, Chapek's, and Beehive, they're just maintaining the same target, trying to just isolate one of them. The shockwave is going to...
Vale, chicos, 6 espectadores. Vamos a ir dejando todos sus likes, porfa.
They want to try and force them to fight their game. Almost had the peak shot on the shotgun there if the player had dropped down. It's okay.
Muchas gracias por esos cachos, pedazo de 5 likes. Ahora voy a mandar un saludito a todos los que estáis por ahí, ¿vale? Si podéis suscribiros, dejar un like, se agradece un montonazo. Voy a mandarlo por aquí.
There you go. Raze gets cleaned up, and that is another set of eliminations going over to the trio.
So now it's 36 to 30 in terms on the leaderboard. You saw that MMB was
Fabri, uso OBS, ¿vale? Chicos, si no importa, vamos a ver esto, ¿vale?
I want to talk about this team in particular. Beehive was notorious coming out from Europe in terms of being like one of the most consistent ones. As we see a replay now of Micho looking for a heavy snipe going through and just gets beamed. Unfortunate there to get knocked and then not able to get the coverage. You hear the sniper, you can see the other bullets coming through, and that's one of the few ways where if a sniper rifle comes through and knocks you, you can't really be hanging out in the open like that at 100 HP because a body shot from even that bolt.
¿Qué tal, Curi? Esto es la final de tríos de la World Cup. Bueno, de la World Cup no, de la Champions Series esta que está todas las semanas va siendo, no sé si sabéis cuál es. Bro, un día podés hacer que haces cuando inicia. ¿Qué? No te entiendo, bro.
Oh, that's massive as well. Every single point in this case matters. So right now, it's at minimum a 5-point spread between them, and going with the third game going on, and Mongo getting the Solari nade in towards him. Luckily, was in the metal box, as we've talked about before, so was protected from that. Trying to double back.
¿Qué tal, Iván? ¿Hay algún español en el torneo? Pues no sé si hay alguien. Sé que está Monreal, que está Atlanti o algo así, o no sé si eso... No sé, ahora iremos viendo, ¿vale? Está Mitro, ese también es bastante bueno. No sé, ahora iremos viendo. ¿Ves? Fase Monreal acaba de morir. Se la acaba de cargar este chaval. Venga, chicos, id dejando todos sus likes y compartir. La verdad que, ¿sabes por qué os pongo esto? Lo pongo porque yo sé que os gusta la calidad del juego. Entonces quiero enseñaros esto, ya que vosotros a lo mejor no lo sabíais. Pero vais a ver cómo son de buenos, tío, cómo van haciendo sus traslados, es decir, de un cubo a otro, ¿sabes? Yo es que me quedo flipado, hazme caso. Ahora lo iréis viendo cuando se aproximen al final o cosas así que estén todos... Es que es una burrada. Voy a poner un poquito la cámara más cerca, ¿vale? Para que me veáis más feo. Vale, y eso, chicos, estoy leyendo el chat desde el móvil. Si no os leo, ya sabéis. Vale, voy a... Aparte YouTube se ve que no ha notificado mucho, pero bueno, no pasa nada, ¿vale? La verdad que en trío, joder, piénsalo, si tiene dos personas, tú eres bueno, pero tiene a dos que también son buenos, joder. Han jugado solo 3 partidas, falta me parece que 7 todavía, así que todavía tenemos directo. Este directo estará hasta las 9 por ahí, cosas así, volveré a cortar. Corley, esta noche, ¿vale? Ahora mismo vamos a ver la final de la Champions Series.
Right now, man, we need half the lobby to go down. Jesse's picked up there in the top left of your elimination feed. This current safe zone is going to be wrapped around Loot Lake.
Lo que no... Chavales, vosotros veis dónde está... hasta las 9, lol, ¿qué pasa? Josepe, últimamente me estás dando unos palos que te voy a quitar el moderador, pero vaya, en seco. Tal cual te lo digo.
I mean, we haven't even seen Storm Surge yet today, though, right? So we talk about dens. I mean, there were lobbies yesterday where there was like 96 people going into the second circle where one trio had dropped. Today,
porque ¿a qué viene lo de hasta las 9, lol? Qué malo tiene. Voy a hacer una cosa, ¿vale? Un segundo.
The loot is so good. The loot transfer is
through. I'm trying to think who he just knocked right there, because I think that was whoever was able, I don't know, but I think that was whoever caught the end of the retail rotation, because he just picked up so much ammunition, so many launch pads, dropping the stinks over towards Illocrats and Thomas right now, but the bubble shield doing its due diligence, saying, get off of me, this is our safe space. Pepper, Camo, and Harmy on the other side. Magnus as well posted up. You got Aqua, Stompy, and Shinkin over there. Rojo, Item, and Mr. Savage as well. So basically split.
Mandar loots, porfa.
Put themselves into that low grab zone quite yet, because it limits your options. And again, with Circle 4 closing in, you don't want to go centrally as well, because despite the low, with the low grab zone in the rift potentially throwing you out, you additionally want to be towards the 50-50. So central is good if you want a consistent rotation, but as we talked about,
¿se escucha bien, chavales? Madre mía. Oh, lo mato. Madre mía, cómo construyen, tío, en tan pocos sitios, ¿sabes? Reacción, un saludito, deja tu like.
the other teammates and just holding a tight right-hand angle. Shinken is being pressured down, forced away by the stink from his opponent and trying
Tienen
to
que
navigate
rotar ya,
the
tío.
low grab zone. And as I say that, Storm Surge
Tienen
kicks
que
on for the
rotar.
first time. If you're unfamiliar with Storm Surge, if you're above a certain number of players in the lobby, based off
Tienen que rotar porque... Mira el minimapa, aunque no se ve mucho eso, pero el minimapa ahora mismo está petado, ¿no? Lo siguiente. Es una borrada. Luxelio, si eres nuevo y te puedes suscribir, se agradece un montonazo. Chicos, todos los nuevos, si podéis dejar un like, suscribiros, se agradece mucho, mucho.
I said veritable, which is a comparison, but yes, I agree.
Sure. Slurp bath just sounds funnier. Anyway, back on board
Funny
with the
is
guys.
one word for it, that's for sure. Let's just never say slurp bath again.
Anyway, crew, Chapix, Beehive, we are back on board. So don't forget, MMB are at the top right now with 35
No, bro.
points. That is
No hagas spam, lo
the number you
siento.
have to beat. So look at that little icon on your left. It says 30. Beehive, Crew, and Chapix, they are contesting. Don't forget, they came up from 25 points, 5 higher. So they're looking to contest after this game.
And again, this is match 3. We haven't hit placement points yet. That first threshold is an additional 3 points, which is effectively eliminating another trio from the game. There's 15 available points there, and this is where you're really going to see who can make a move. That half-in, half-out zone is pulling into the northeast side of the circle, and there is only currently 3 trios there, with most of the trios having to rotate through the low grab zone, which means if you jump, you become a very easy way to focus. They're trying to set up a double snipe. Heavy snipe into the bolt, looking for a headshot so they can get the conversion. The heavy snipe is leading, and Crew is on the bolt afterward, trying to mark and find a target. They don't have outlines, remember. We know where they are. They do not. They're just looking for any movement behind, and now they're going to look to set up a shockwave. You can see him trying to line it up, make sure everyone is there. You jump on top of the edit, you're sure you're in a straight line, and then please jump at the same time. Don't get split.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Pretty
Fran
good.
Rodríguez, un saludito.
Reconnect via build. There is a shield bubble gone defensively. Look at this. Chapix gets cracked and full eliminated right now. They're trying to crack back if possible, but there's so much action, and it looks like Crew and Beehive.
Estamos viendo el torneo de tríos de la World Cup, ¿vale? Bueno, la World Cup, no, siempre me equivoco, la Champions Series que va viendo todos los de esto, ¿vale? No son privadas. Hola, yo la estaba viendo. Pues bueno, aquí ya podemos comentar, chavales. Si queréis. Vale, si podéis dejar un like, se agradece, ¿vale? ¿Qué tal, Cabalucio? Pero es que, chavales, mirad lo que hay metido en un círculo súper enano, ¿sabes? Que es que es lo que me raya a mí que te caga. Un círculo súper enano. 12 de vida. Lo tiene más chungo.
Pops his minis, gets back up to effective HP, and he's looking to get the conversion. Finds one shot, that's white tags onto him, wants to try and steal the wall, doesn't get it on the first one, gets it on the second with the ramp place. He just wants the conversion first.
Está rematando y se está curando, chavales. La verdad. A mí me encanta ver estas cosas porque, chavales, la calidad de juego que hay aquí no es normal. La calidad de juego que hay aquí no es normal. Así que observar y disfrutar. Si tenéis alguna duda me lo preguntáis e intento resolver, ¿vale? Mirar, es que el minimapa está petado, no lo siguiente, chavales. Petado, no lo siguiente. Ha muerto. TSM, dólar C, a ver este. Mira, Sabax, este es muy bueno. No, lo estoy viendo por YouTube, bro. Lo que pasa que se ve así ampliado. No sé por qué, pero se ve así. ¿Qué ha pasado? What the fuck? Si te lo propones, aquí quien se lo proponga es capaz. Chicos, dejar un like todo, ¿vale? Y suscribiros. Dios, pero es que mirar eso, no es normal. No es normal, tío. Este chaval es muy bueno, este de aquí que estamos viendo ahora mismo es muy bueno. Si podéis dejar un like, suscribiros, quien no lo esté, lo agradezco un montonazo. Chicos, si veis que estoy mirando para allá, es que estoy viendo aquí yo, ¿vale? Lo estoy viendo en otro lado. En plan, suelo mirar para jugar ahí, pero ahora estoy mirando aquí, porque el OBS lo tengo más para allá. Oh, la han matado, loco. Hay muchos que no conozco, pero hay bastante buenos. Alex, ¿qué tal? Mira, a ver si conocéis alguno. Si conocéis alguno me lo decís, ¿eh? Que me digáis, mira, ese lo conozco. Con mi tío del team y esa... Joder. GG, bro. Se veía muy mala calidad, no sé el por qué. Está a 1080, la verdad. 12.000, Se acaba de cargar uno. Está Aqua. Ni idea de quién es, tío. Este, ¿no? Aqua. O Aqua está más tocado que... Remata. Madre mía, tío.
He's just trying to hold this down, lock it up from above. He's trying to send shots down while Chinkin is getting a little bit closer. Stompy is there in full force, so he's saying, I will go head to head. A nice turn and flick. Lucky gets shredded.
Al final gana este hombre,
Look at this. It is a 3v1. This is it. This is the last play. They just have to go for the ISO.
GG, brother. Han ganado, tío. GG. Han ganado con 11 kills. Mira, con el nuevo baile. Chicos, dejadme un like y compartir, venga. Mira qué guapo, tío, el plato ese, ¿eh? Está guapo, ¿eh? Está muy guapo.
I'm happy, I'm smiling. The big thing in this 6-game format is that you can create route yourself, you can be at the bottom, but then you still have chances to rise to the top.
Se baile camina, ¿en serio? Chicos, va a ir dejando like y suscribiéndose todos los nuevos. Mira, chavales, tenemos Monreal, segunda posición. Falconi, Robat y David, que no sé quién es, la verdad, en primera. A ver, alguien que conozcamos. El que ha ganado ahora va en sexta posición. Yo no reconozco a más nadie. ¿Qué tal, Juanjo? Ir dejando like, porfa. Acasie. Ni idea, la verdad. Secret Milan, no sé quién es, pero digo, a lo mejor lo conocemos. Arthur también. Sí, bueno. Yo la verdad conozco muy poco, ¿eh? Vale, y de aquí Atlantics, ahí hay uno por ahí. Y más, no. ¿De aquí conocéis a alguien, chicos? ¿Qué tal, Johnny? Ir mandándome loots. Fanatic. No. No conozco a nadie, me quedo flipado. Claro, porque aquí puede entrar todo el mundo, ¿no? Basti, ¿qué tal? Un saludito. Estás como yo, ¿no, Basti? ¿Quiénes son esos?
14 points currently, so they have a lot to get. The pumps coming through. Sometimes the natural thing on height to do is pump and build. Over here, though, we see no builds available. So the adaptation to have your movement in check and then make sure that is your falling grace, just in case you're in a bad spot, is what Chicken had. That's what got him that repeat pump afterwards as well. Still has contingency with that shockwave to Lupo. No heals available at this time. What is he focusing on here when he's dropping down?
Right there, that last big hit, he's basically tracking the target, making sure that he stays on top. Any chance.
¿Sabéis cada cuánto echan otra partida? ¿O es seguido? ¿O... ¿Y siempre juegan los mismos? Es decir, ¿hay 100 y siempre juegan esos 100? ¿O hay clasificado a lo mejor 1000 y ganan 10?
of their game. They were all the
Seguido.
way to the end there. It's
Vale.
funny, we even saw, because like we mentioned, MMB got
Pon en la
messed with a little
final.
bit early game. There was a mech situation
Ah, vale.
in retail row, and they were punishing
Ayer en
rules that
arena,
match, so
en la
multiple
cuenta de
players,
Cava
multiple
hicimos
teams,
un late de
people are listening
35.
on
Joder.
streams. It's funny, you hear the comms saying, all right, well, they're not in here, so
Lo
we have a
segundo
chance
que has
to take
dicho.
high ground this time.
Sí, hay
Absolutely.
miles y
You can see
miles.
actually what happened to them in the game as well. We have
No
another
veas,
package
¿sabes?
lined up for the early mid-game type of fights and those mid-ground inclusions near the
Ay,
end
los
of the game. So right now,
robots.
Kong TV, early game brute, we
Kong.
have him in retail,
Este
one
no es,
spot
no,
where
era
the
King,
brute
no, el
is
que
one
era
of the
muy bueno.
best because you have defense from the cube monsters. He gets a big knock in Elim on the star trio. Chapek's rolling in.
Es una buena kill, la he visto antes. Bienvenido, Enrique. La he visto antes. Uy, Mitro, la que le han dado, pobrecito.
Kind of caught out. This is the issue with mid-game rotating. If you're coming from such a big POI spot where everyone has different timings, you gotta get split up on your walk. A snipe comes through, no shield, unfortunate.
Matías, ¿qué tal?
Straight back in.
Sí, es en trío, Basti. Es en trío. Chicos, si me veis mirando muy para abajo es que estoy viendo yo esto aquí, ¿vale? Que no puedo ponerlo de otra forma. Naza Gamer, un saludito. Naz Gamer, perdón. Bueno, puedo hacer una cosa. Voy a poner la cámara más aquí.
Those awesome nades off earlier, but he can also bullfight near the end. Once again, Chinken, he tried doing it as well late game, didn't have.
Y a ver si así se me ve. A ver.
X8 tracking Mongo, not the easiest step in the world, but boom. That's how he gets taken out. Revenge from getting.
Bueno, así al menos la tengo más. Puedo ir mirando y comentando así, vale, mejor. Si tuvieras que jugar la World Cup, ¿cómo sería trío en trío? Es que jugar en solitario me daría un susto, tío. No sé por qué, pero me daría susto, ¿sabes? En ese sentido.
You can just go to a different page in your playbook immediately when you have so many options on height and break down everyone else in the server. Especially landing in on height and trying to do that on mid-ground. You don't have many aerial builds around you. You have to land first before you can place walls. You pick the wrong option, you got knocked down. Aqua, this is him with the infantry rifle now. Just because it doesn't have that much pressure on builds repeatedly over and over again doesn't mean it can't do damage. Doesn't mean you can't be dynamic either. A big pump once again on X8, right? We see the food chain going all the way to the top. You got Mongrel to X8.
Qué pesado eso, loco.
Passing the torch all the way to see who can actually win. Then once again, we see that play breakdown. Big pumps is kind of the theme of this meta at the moment. You have that one close.
Yo estoy en el torneo, pero en solitario. ¿En serio? Chicos, se ve bien, se escucha bien. ¿Veis algo raro? Tenéis que hablarme, ¿eh? Me veis muy pequeño, que no sé si esto yo lo ampliaba. Leme, ártele un segundo.
You are seeing players delegate positions and roles. Here, Aqua, the ultimate high ground, looking down from above and applying pressure to the builds.
Sí, está bien.
Shinken and Stomp here making moves down on the low ground.
Vale.
That
A ver.
taking ownership of it, but still being
Con tanta
aware
gente no
that
te daría miedo. Hazme
flicks
caso que
up
estuve en
top
una.
and hitting, like you said,
A ver, eso sí es verdad.
the meta right now is big pumps 100%. When you hit those shots, you land them, you know
¿Por qué
you
se
have
mueven tan
almost
raro? Pues no
guaranteed a
sé.
knock if it's over 100 damage. You have players
Grande,
falling
Mr.
through,
Blanco.
especially
Chicos, y
full
dejando un like, venga.
here taking ownership
Dale
of
caña.
what's left of the circle, still maintaining elevation, little drop in, the follow through on Tokar. Nebby here
¿Qué
trying to
tal,
push his way
Máximo?
out.
Un
Players
saludito.
basically stacked up on
Esta es la
top of each
anterior,
other.
¿no?
Even if you don't have that ultimate high ground, even if
Sí,
everyone is sitting
esta es
on
la
top of each
anterior.
other,
Esta es la
the
repetición,
awareness
chicos, de la
to
anterior,
make sure
¿vale?
you're looking around, watching all your angles is so key, and these players do it every
Desde
single
otra
time without fail.
perspectiva y otros cambios. Están comentando. Ya, eso sí es verdad, hombre. Habrá gente. Yo pienso que vaya quien vaya, alguien puede matar a alguien. Yo lo que siempre digo, que como esto es más bien suerte, pues no es lo mismo. Pero no sé, yo creo que seríamos capaces del que vaya puede ganar fácilmente, que no es que gane solo la gente que es muy buena. Yo maté a Delor, ¿ves? Que yo lo que pienso, hombre, no es lo mismo ir con mi nivel que ir con el nivel, por ejemplo, de alguien que se está preparando para esto, pero chicos, cuarta partida, ¿vale? Mira, 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 mira cómo se tiran.
was a reference to the fact that Mongo has been
Dios,
rocking the Psycho skin
qué
recently.
abuso.
Okay.
People have been like,
You were just one step ahead of me.
Qué
it's all good. It's all
abuso.
good. As you can see, the bus path is going from southeast to northwest, slightly northernly clipped, so
Qué lío,
decent,
Qué gran
drops for
lío.
anybody who's on the north
Son
side.
todos
Anybody
ingleses,
who's
¿no?
going to Frosty or Hamlet has a bit
Hay de
of a
todo, lo
climb
único
to
que el
go,
que
and
está
it
hablando es
looks
un
like,
retransmitor,
again, retail in that right-hand side,
un
just a little
periodista,
bit
vaya, que
of
está hablando y
blue,
es
I believe.
inglés.
Sorry, I'm colorblind. They are
Pero hay un poco de
uncontested,
todo.
and as long as a brute doesn't come through and rain on their parade, we should be seeing them
Mira, si os fijáis, cada uno está en una
efficiently.
ciudad. Apenas están muy juntos, es decir, por ejemplo, ahí en el bloque, en Chiringuito, no sé, cada uno va a cada lado. Hay 95 en la partida, 32 tríos. Bueno, ve, a full, a ver. Dios. Javier, ¿qué tal? Un saludito, sí me acuerdo, deja tu like, brother. Este hombre es la máquina, el agua este, ¿eh? Dios. Es la máquina, chavales.
The players should be able to exit out the back, but the reason why this is scary, despite there being 11 bullets,
Qué malillo esto,
well,
hermano.
2 is the minimum if you can get 2 headshots, right? But 3 or 4 will be able to get the tags out, and then Stompy now has an angle, and this is what happens when he gets 3 rifles right away.
Phew.
Some shields were ticked over there, so they see the blue tags, they're like, all right, we don't know what he's got, we're just gonna try and keep him pinned, keep the angles on it, and eventually close this out. Stink going down that.
Muchas gracias, brother. Están jugando muy bien esta gente, ¿eh?
Being down, but haven't quite
Muy
gotten
bien.
the conversion just yet. On to the next one. He's gonna be able to
Tienen
pick that up,
29
pushing them
puntazos.
up to 30 points, and I mean 26 in the last one. They're right up there now, Z.
I mean, man, I'm just so impressed with Aqua using those rifling skills, showing us all why he is a
30
world
puntitos.
champion. Now Stomp's gonna go over, pick up
Madre
some
mía,
of the
tío, yo no
lead.
sé la
There
vista
wasn't
que
much
tienen,
there.
tío, y
The other thing
son
he's gonna
muy
have
buenos,
is that
tío.
driftboard if
Yo me quedo
he
flipando.
wants to take it with him. That's going to be a nice form of rotation a little later on. But check the minimap. These guys are by themselves. Look at this spread they have. A lot of loot that they can kind of get out of Frosty, and then if they
Son
want to
muy,
rotate
muy
out,
buenos.
they could.
And they're looking to try and track
Ojo
down
Monreal,
that last
ahí con
blue
los
tag you
zombies.
see in the bottom right of the top left screen, but flipping over to the other side, we see MMB uncontested in retail, back to the game 1 and 2
Hostia.
strategy, so they should be a little cleaner there. And
En este torneo sí, 1 millón de euros, bro. $1 millón de dólares, me parece. El que gane o se reparte o algo así. Sí, sí, pero que digo que este era el clan de Monreal. Mitro, Monreal y Benji. O como se diga. Esta gente tiene un truco aquí. Uy, robots. Esta gente, el truco que tiene es... matan las zonas donde salen los zombies, que no sé cómo se llaman. Y en esa zona le salen muchas armas. ¿Ves? Ya están rompiendo, si te fijas. Y ahí pues le salen cosas, por ejemplo, bazooka, SCAR dorada. Y en... What the fuck? ¿Quién es ese hombre, por Dios? Vicky repaso la dan una amiguilla. Ya ve, pues anda que yo, bro.
Is unfortunate, not being able to handle it. We talked
Madre
about
mía.
it, sometimes the wrench is the plan, and it looks like they're seeking that out to just bring it over there. 2 games in a row.
La que se lía en una mejilla, la verdad.
They're just able to put it to vicious work.
I mean, they had eyes on it, right? They were very quick to identify.
Ahí está, primer cubito.
But it was a ruse.
It was a ruse.
Uy, 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 uy,
That's
uy.
so cool that they used this to draw all the aggro, and then they got the flank, and that's what gave them the edge. But this is still the other 2 of the most powerful trios.
Buah, se ha cargado a Mitro, tío. A trampa. Vaya bucho, loco. Se la ha cargado a trampa, hermano. ¿En serio? Qué mala suerte han tenido. Sí, creo que sí. Pero no sé dónde está, si se ha ido. Yo me iría, ¿por qué? Porque estoy solo y al estar solo prefiero intentar ganar puntos solo aguantando. ¿Qué tal, Tiziano? Deja tu like, brother. ¿Se ha ido? Normal.
I thought people would be doing it immediately off the rip, trying to hawk them like from, and quite literally doing what most people call like griefing off spawn, but trying to get an advantage going on there. Instead, what they're doing is they're taking their usual drop in the 2 games they've gotten a brute. They take in the advantage that gives you. They brought it over. This time they're trying to be aware.
Dedicarse al Fortnite es rentable. Bueno. Pues mira, sí, puede ser, Josepe. Yo tengo una pregunta. Esta gente gana dinero, pero si tú quedas muy mala posición no gana a lo mejor nada de dinero. Es muy difícil siempre ganar dinero, ¿sabes? Pero claro, si luego están con los directos, bueno. Y una pregunta, ¿os gustaría que salieran los materiales como hay al lado? En plan, la forma que tiene, mira, te sale las construcciones que puedes hacer, que son 149, las bajas, no sé, cosas así. Estaría bastante guapo. No pasa nada, Tiziano. Está chulo, en verdad, ¿eh? Esta gente tiene 36 puntazos. Hay 9 tormentas. ¿Qué tal, Joaquín? Deja tu like. Están cogiendo, este hombre está cogiendo setas para... No te preocupes, Tiziano. Because you can't take a fair fight against the best trio in the world. That's something you lose most of the time. You want to catch them off guard. You want to try and do everything you can because they are that good. And now we've seen twice they've been taken down. So the question is, do they continue going there, or are they going to go now hunt those guys out and say, hey, we'll take you on then in a fair fight? Like, what is the next pivot play? Because while some people will say that, yes, that's griefing and going on there, I don't buy that. It is a battle royale game. You're playing against the other best players in the world. Everyone earned their chance to get there. If somebody decides to fight you, you need to be definitively better than them to get out of this situation. And if they're enough to stall you, then they're enough to stall you. And at least, again, that is my personal opinion on that. But in a game where the goal is to be the last one surviving and then you score points by eliminating your opponents, like, go eliminate your opponents and take some fights, man.
There you go. Just eliminate them instead. Don't be eliminated.
Right? I mean, like, just go, but like if I'm MMB, right? Like in my head, I know if I go and challenge those guys, like I would say they're better than them. Right? So it's like, why are you letting them get the drop?
Ya, eso sí, verdad. Chicos, voy a intentar... Bueno, espera.
So it's like, why wouldn't you now go and challenge them? Why give them an opportunity to get the drop on you a third time?
Voy a cambiar una cosa, ¿vale? Ahora os leo, ¿vale?
Is to limit the factors where they could end up having poor early games. If you have poor early games twice in a row, what is your next play? As in Directo is able to find a great
José y Álvaro utilizan eToro para invertir en los mercados financieros. José investiga oportunidades de inversión a nivel global. Álvaro, en cambio, investiga cómo llegar a ser un mago de nivel 60 de un videojuego.
Can he? Okay, did not go over the wall. That's okay. And Directo is going full send right now. Going to take a moment to pop a bandage and just let him know, hey, you hear this? I'm so wounded. Oh, please. Go ahead and engage me. And Directo's ready to go. He's either going to get the HP or he's going to make them fight him now.
This is a 2v3 as well. Like, Paytech and Directo are taking this when Ritz has already been knocked. They're being the aggressors here, just trying to force a 2v2, knowing the other player.
Anibor, bienvenido, bro. Si eres nuevo y te puedes suscribir, se agradece. Ahí está un loot.
Flick from Paytech, the competitive veteran, already goes down in a better jump in from a Directo to pick up temper. They take the 2v2, they get the conversion, but Paytech is in shambles, no extra HP, very little match. So this was two teams who were struggling to rotate away from Hamlet. We talked about how the bus path actually kind of has an influence on that. The contention coming in Hamlet and then having to do a slight rotation because you're late and two people fighting each other means you end up in this situation where you're fighting with effectively not the resources you want, and then you get forced to make a decision and
Me parece que son 10 millones, ¿eh?
Again, shout outs to them for just saying, you know what, we got the drop here. Let's go ahead and full send it. We are 2v3, but it doesn't matter. And it just goes back to that confidence factor you talk a lot about. It's like, if you just know you're better than the other person, it doesn't matter what their name is, doesn't matter what their stats are, what their earnings are, none of it. You just have to say, I have to just be better than whoever's on the other side, and you just have to do that.
Well, and that's a big thing coming from a lot of professional players, whether it is video games or professionals in anyone in their fields, right? Confidence is key. Like, people talk about like fake it till you make it and all that, but like if you're confident in your ability to do something and you believe you can do
Ahora
it,
leo,
that
chicos, un
is a step
segundito.
towards being great at something. Nobody is ever like great at doing something, sitting there being like, oh man, I'm really not good at this. Like this is kind of rough for me. They're not passionate about it. Like the people who are really at the top are confident. It's not some people are like, oh, like you're cocky or you're arrogant. It's no, that level of confidence is part of the reason why you're up there. Because the second you don't think you're better than somebody, and the second you're kind of doubting yourself, that creeps in. It creeps into your instincts, it creeps into your reactions, and right now, you can see Tohaj and Kaxi being pinched on by Imagine Craze and Tokar, the team who
Sí, 10 millones, bro.
able to finally get some revenge out of Moisey Ponce.
Venga, chicos, dejad like, no dejéis dislike, hombre.
35, that
Ratillas.
is Wood over there. They're trying to line it up.
Sí, 10 millones he visto por ahí, ¿eh? Claro, 10 millones a repartir entre 3 o algo así, pero no sé, son 10 millones. Pero mira la que hay liada, tío. Si es que cada milímetro de... Pues eso no es que... Uy, uy, uy. No es que lleve muy buena arma. What the fuck, tío. ¿Cómo matan, de verdad? No voy a ver, va a full de mini de lo otro.
This could prove to be truly chaotic depending on how all of these trios want to do this, because look, there's a trio all the way on the left on the little mountain. There's even one trying to peek into the left. You've got one on the mountain posted up more north. Like, there's so much action, and right now Crew, Chappis, and
Todos los torneos que estamos creando ganan mucho. Ya, la verdad que sí.
He does have splashes, but he's taken so much damage. It's okay, Crew.
A ver, este, porque este ya lo han matado en esta partida. No sé cómo irá, ¿sabes? Madre mía, tío, es que ahí spamean balas para todo. ¿No ve la que podría liar un robot? Pues sí. Chavales, coge el bazooka. Si lo tienes ahí, claro. Coger el bazooka. Madre mía, la caería en una mejilla. Han tapado túneles. Los han tapado. Lo han tapado. Otra kill, tío. Llevan 3.
And I mean, again, we talk about the stinks being a great way to force people out, but when you have that many and you have limited options, sometimes you're just forced to take the damage, opting not to burn the chugs, and it was enough. Very well played from these guys, and doing it not in their typical fashion, going for placements. They've been all about the elims today.
Me quedo flipado, la verdad.
Nix, Daedra, XOXO, they're trying to go in right now. The shots are ringing out. Nix goes down there. Unfortunately, Daedra picks up Kretch in the crossfire. Watch the elimination feed. Nix picks up.
Van a full de materiales. Tiene, de bala de escopeta no tiene mucha, pero bueno. Madre mía, madre mía, madre mía. ¿Cómo te hacen eso, en una mejilla? ¿Cómo te lo hacen? Pues a ver, bro.
levels with what, Zeke?
Otra vez el agua este es muy bueno.
The top levels with metal to avoid the Solari nades if they
Anda que yo, Johnny.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about something.
No, you're all good. You're
I'm
good.
also thinking about
I was
the
trying to give you the
content.
layup, and it's just I threw it up there. That's my
No,
bad.
I slipped on that one. The banana peel
It
wasn't
wasn't
my
your fault. It was my bad. It was a bad alley-oop. Turnover on my fault. But now, hopping on board here with Aqua
Se parte el tío ese,
Okay, it wouldn't be the first time
Madre mía,
I
qué
followed
risa.
today, but enough sports references. This is Fortnite. This is the grand finals. Game number 4, just entering the back half. And right now it is
Ahora mismo no.
anybody's matches. MMB were forced away
Ok,
from
Seba.
retail and taken down
Javier,
second
esta
match
noche,
in a
¿vale?
row.
Ahora
And
no.
the third
Ahora vamos a
party
ver
danger
esto.
Gets absolutely ripped down in the bottom right-hand corner. No HP, no
Ir
shields,
dejando un
and
like,
three
porfa.
different trios pouring shots into him.
It's crazy because the Gamers Origin trio were just trying
Y
to
yo
like,
también, Seba.
and then the trio up here, which looks
Una,
like
dos, y tres ahora.
He's looking to send
Cierra.
somebody. Wait, did he actually get one in there? Box is open.
Uy,
Oh, no.
no se la ha colado de milagro, tío. Se la llega a colar y yo
Yeah,
flipo.
so I believe it must have gone down on the
Yo
low
me
side.
pregunto que si
Again,
vas a la
they
World
don't
Cup
have
y
that
ganas,
boxing
no te
heat, like,
entenderás
that
nada
is
de lo
what
que
you
te
use to
digan.
count. Are you serious? There's no way you've been sitting out
No,
here
la
like
verdad
this.
que yo no me
There's
enteraría.
gets the headshot. Okay.
Sobre todo yo, que se ve no,
Is gargling at this stage in
no
the
sé nada de
finals.
inglés, ¿sabes?
There is no way
Well,
now.
so the way he had the box speak is really good, but you need to then be recessed inside of your box.
Yeah.
So if somebody does end up having an angle on you, it
Hay que ver que esta gente, nada más que se ven, en vez de ir a rushearse, lo que van es de cubito en cubito. E intentar aprovechar. Por esto digo que la World Cup esta o los torneos estos no es el que sea más bueno, no. Es el que haga la estrategia mejor, si lo pensáis. Porque si os dais cuenta, si nadie rushea, van todos quietos. Es más bien el que juegue mejor con la cabeza.
Trying to
Trying to
one in
sneak
there.
one in.
Yeah, it
He's
was
literally just trying to like, oh, I see a window, can I get it? But now they're just going to rotate directly underneath
going
them.
for it.
Storm Surge is going to tick in, and 14 people will need to be going down before this rotation happens. They're just trying to get in on the edge of the zone, and Billy goes up.
Oh, excellent.
Pues 40 minutos, bro. Ya, yo también, Johnny.
To the right of them on the lower side of this mountain across what you see Andretta still alive, still navigating the map, as well as Mr. Savage, Rojo, Item, Milan, Kinzel, CRR over there as well. Kester, there's so many names.
And our current leaders as well, Falcony and Robabs of Train H and the Vic from the stream are able to still be in the match. They're rotating down towards the brand new Gotham City.
Todavía quedan entre comillas 6 partidas más. No sé si la veré entera, pero bueno. Mr. Savage.
And that is another key elim. They're just trying to see if anybody will poke back out, anybody gonna come to his defense. Nope, that's just free mats, free point, free HP over to whoever as Paytech goes down.
I'm very curious to see how this is going to be working out as we move into Gotham, because like you said, that redeploy is going to be huge. So
moving away.
Dos pociones de escudo. Este lleva una kill, los demás no llevan. Bueno, no mal. Están intentando coger la altura, chicos, para meterse en zona en la montaña. Qué listos son, tío. Sara Navarrete, un saludito, deja tu like. Son muy listos, la gente. Yo me quedo flipando con lo listos que son, chicos. Si podéis dejar un like, se agradece.
Down to 52 players. Again, 2 more need to drop as Storm Surge is still ticking over.
I almost would have liked them to just hold off on cleaning that up to get at least a few bandages over to give him more effective HP, but in the heat of the moment, maybe they thought Pepper's like very close. He is close. He's on a 1-by-1 upwards of them right now. You see Robabs, Falcony, the current leaders, they find themselves their first point of this game, game number 4, and they're looking to try and get more.
Yeah, Tohash just picking up Lucia there in a full elim on our screen. Right now pushing up into 37 points, 20 trios remaining.
Chavales, que hoy estoy leyendo el chat desde el móvil, ¿vale? Entonces lo tengo aquí puesto y intento hacer lo que puedo. Porque como hoy estoy el ordenador este, que es donde leo el chat, lo estoy usando para ver yo la World Cup esta, pues vamos a ver esos likes cómo van. 27, vale, no está nada mal.
Oh no, Robops was the one who got it. Okay, it just didn't come through from Falcon. I was like, that's weird because the shot was timed out, but I guess it was as the anim came through. So another point going on. 5 more trios need to drop as the actually goes down. Was that theirs?
Uno está muy tocado. Madre mía, el lanzacohete, como no lo pille le meto. No lo van a pillar, pero en serio, yo lo pillaría. Medi, ¿qué tal? Un saludito.
Where we're going just over the mountain. They're trying to line up the shockwave and making sure they have it right. Zone comes through, getting barely up on the edge, trying to force into a box. That is not theirs. Climbing up, drops the players down, finds a launch pad. He says,
buah, loco, qué bien la han hecho, ¿eh? ¿Cómo se han metido en zona, tío? ¡Jo! Piedra, tiene nada más que madera porque ya se la dio el ladrillo. Flipa, tío, flipa lo que hacen, loco. Flipa. Dios. Mira que disparan poco, pero disparan para eso. Disparan muy poco, pero lo que disparan no lo falla. Tío, mira de gente. Qué abuso. Mira, Aqua está ahí arriba. Madre mía. Chicos, si podéis compartir y dejar un like se agradece, ¿vale? Se parte. Hola Fran, mi hermano me borró mi cuenta principal, así que me he creado otra y es esta, suerte. Vale, Julia, pues suscríbete con esa. Dios, tío, cómo spamean bala y matan sí o sí. Cuidado, cuidado. Es muy abuso, Es muy abuso. La que lían en una... Dios. Se le queda pillado muchas veces, eso. Se muere por la zona, se muere. ¡Ah! Se muere. Y mata a uno por la cara, venga. Claro que sí. Lo estoy solo que he hecho cuando no... Ah, puede ser. Borgwen, que es español, murió. Ah, pues mira, ya lo sabemos para la próxima, bro. Si es que matan de un disparo. Es que no vea, loco, cómo matan. Había una SCAR y no la ha pillado, creo. Quedan todavía 18, ¿eh?
Little bit of revenge coming over there. Belvin gets the cleanup there. Vamos España as Elocrats and Thomas are trying to find everything they can on the backside. Falcony goes down to X8 though. That is the top trio still.
¿Ha dicho vamos España o soy yo?
Can he find it? 100 pump gets the swap. 6 HP and he takes out Tohash. Ford the swing on the placement points. That is a 4. Another one. A13 needs the conversion. What is going on? 1, 2, 3 strikes. Aqua takes them all out. Finds the zone again.
Se le va la pinza al colega este. Se le va la pinza. Aqua español. Aqua ha ganado antes. No. Entonces joder, yo ya ahí no sé qué haría, loco. Yo me agobiaría. Qué buena. Dios, cómo ha ganado, bro. Dios, cómo ha ganado. Chicos, una burrada, ¿eh? Una gran burrada. Chicos, ¿sabes por qué me gusta ver esto? Porque a mí se me pueden quedar, bueno, se me pueden quedar las cosas que voy viendo, ¿no? Pues digo, hostia, pues mira lo de la trampa. Si veo que me quedo así yo abajo y hay alguien arriba, puedo colocar trampa. Grande, Seba. A ver cómo va. Monreal ha bajado al 6º puesto. Lisandro, ¿qué tal? Deja tu like. Aqua, 2º puesto. De Vic, Robaz y Falconi, 1er puesto. No sé quién es, la verdad, bro.
I see 3 different types of wavelengths here right now, right? We have that goal for the victory royale play late game.
En la partida esta pasada, nada más empezar, la han matado.
That's when things go wrong. That second wavelength, the W key, right? Go for high elims. We see people near the bottom, right? We got 9th place, 20 elims at the moment. That's also a wavelength going.
Pero Monreal es que ha ganado una partida.
No VRs whatsoever, playing their mid ground, playing for any type of advantage you can see, right? So, in terms of these 3 types of wavelengths,
Monreal tiene 35 y el primero va a 48, le saca 13. Bueno, no es mucho,
Players were getting knocked out of those top 8, top 16 spots because of tiebreakers. One of the things that's going to
muchas veces se la juegan, ¿sabes? Muchas veces se la juegan.
Consistency for the late game. You play for positioning, you get those eliminations on rotation. More victory royale is going to be the most important thing there, and it's going to push you higher up in the leaderboard. So if you're right on the cusp, getting knocked out, not qualifying for the final day, my opinion, playing for that late game, playing for the
mira, los primeros sin ganar van primero. Solo porque llevan muchas eliminaciones.
Climbing up the board is your goal.
Sin matar, sin ganar, vaya, digo.
We can actually throw back to a replay, a nice package to see exactly how these wavelengths apply. Look at Aqua, right? The bottom
El Aqua este es un abuso,
but has that W key mentality when things go wrong. This is where all the points are in the elims. First shot coming in gets the elim. This is the most important part though. When you get knocks in the storm, if you don't confirm them, you don't get
Dios.
Instead of looking back,
joder. Se ha cargado 5.
He just goes for as many shots as possible to make it so that even if anything, he might be able to, secure a placement point out. So
qué abuso, loco.
It's just like swapping those wavelengths too. It's just something these pros, these top-level players, World Cup champions are doing today to win those grand finals.
He is terrifying. I do not want to end up in a game against him. There's a reason that he's in EU and I stay on NA East. Thanks. Now, that being said, we have more coming up, but before we get to that, we're going to throw to a quick break, so don't go anywhere. If you need to go to the bathroom, do your thing. Swing on back here.
Chicos, ¿te imaginas que en vez de estar viendo a esta gente, estoy yo ahí y la juego yo y la retransmito? Joder, sería un abuso. Vuelven en 5 minutitos. Se va a poner ahí a hablar un poquito del mapa. Joder. Si es que no veo lo que hacen, tío, yo me quedo flipando. Vale, se va.
To get started, let's get a refresher on what shockwaves are and some of the basics of using them. Shockwave grenades are a utility item that drop in stacks of 2 with a maximum stack size of 6. When thrown, the shockwave launches anyone within its tile-and-a-half radius far distances, destroying builds in the process, with the added protection from fall damage for the players who use them. The most effective way to gain maximum distance is to time your jump well with a shockwave right below you, angling yourself above it for higher vertical movement.
Mira, te está dando instrucciones de cómo avanzar con la de esta.
If you do use a shockwave to rotate through builds late game, you will only be able to go through about 5 layers of wood, brick, or metal before you come to a stop. When going for height, if you don't get stopped by any opposing players' builds at all, you can reach up to 7.5 tiles in height, giving anyone above you a surprise and changing both yours and your enemy's game plan in a split second.
Dios de gente volando. Nicolás Gamer, ¿qué tal? Un saludito. Es el DR Lupo. Ni idea, no sé quién es. Están explicando cómo usar las bombas de impulso para usarlas en condiciones.
Saving these grenades for later use brings an element of
Mira un
surprise
chino.
as well, and a level of shock to the
Dios, qué altura ha cogido,
Looking at 8th and 9th zones with densely packed
Mira, Mitro y
enemies,
Montreal.
vertical shockwaves make high ground and mid ground layers crumble, and give patient trails and surviving solos.
Un descanso, Josepe. Ahora vuelve, no es el tiempo que pone ahí.
Three players usually proves fatal though, as you are vulnerable throughout your whole flight and easily targeted by the trio you're trying to attack.
Ah, ¿por qué no está jugando ese? Pues porque se habrá retirado, no sé.
Your newfound height, poor foundation, easily shot out and focused from below. Panicking with shockwaves in your own box and misusing them is always an irreversible mistake during the game, giving you poor positioning split away from your trio, costing you building resources, or ultimately you and your teammates their entire health and shield pool if used at the absolute incorrect moment. To counteract the chaos from shockwaves, new and clean strategies are put in place to negate the negative and potential mishaps in certain situations. When going for height, separately boxing up before using the shockwaves and
Dios,
going for
mirad
height
el
again
círculo.
allows you to have power in numbers as 3 players get a vertical rotation
Cómo
together,
vuelan los
overwhelming
disparos.
the competition.
Tiene ya hijo Lupo,
Discovering
a lo
new
mejor
positioning and shockwave throwing
puede ser,
techniques
¿no?
against
Que
the
le hayan dicho,
box
pues mira, tú
might
quieres
keep
ser
your trio and
presentador o
exposed
cosas
together
así,
when using one
y a lo
shot
mejor él
control,
dice, pues venga,
saving crucial mats and attracting
prefiero
less
eso a
attention
tener que
during
estar todo el
mid-game
rato jugando.
rotations. You also save your total shockwave count by doing this, allowing for more opportunities to challenge high ground, grief low ground
Dios.
in the endgame, or rotate mid game. Countermeasures can be taken too, such
Esto
as
es la
taking a
final
team
de
high
tríos
ground
de esta semana, bro.
as in the event of
Un
a
premio de 10
shockwave,
millones de
you have
dólares.
someone up high who can rain down
Ok,
and
que
support the trio on a retake. Keeping your own shockwaves handy is a way to counter anyone taking
Martín,
off of you as
un
well.
saludito, bro, deja
If
tu
the
like.
trios play mind games and the circle gets smaller, smaller, and smaller, the more likely a chance there is for a messy repeat shockwave circus happening.
Si podéis dejar un like, todo se agradece.
Player after player gets sent flying in the sky, with teammates all getting sent
¿Entendéis
around
lo
in
que
and out
dicen?
of the
No.
storm, off their chart
El
players,
presentador es
exposing
inglés, pero yo lo único que
match
quiero,
resources
Lisandro, es ver de
more.
jugar.
Identifying these mistakes, staying in your lane, and watching teams move is a good way to anticipate and prevent disaster from striking before it happens. Although an item overlooked
Me
as
chifla
simple
cuando
as
quitan 100
numbers,
de vida, tío, de verdad, es que me chifla cuando hacen un escopetazo. ¡Pah! Muchas gracias, Johnny. Estos son repeticiones, chicos. Mira, Buba. Estos son repeticiones, esta no es la de esta. Están explicando cómo usar las bombas de impulso. Este es el nuevo tráiler de... Bueno, que ya lo habréis visto, pero lo están poniendo. De Batman con la colaboración. Está bastante guapo, ¿eh? Epic Games. Mira qué camiseta más guapa lleva, tío, el presentador. Está chula, ¿eh?
Alright, Fortnite fam, we are back and we're getting ready to hop into game number 5 of Europe. Now, I'm not gonna hold you up.
Tío, ¿os imagináis vuestra casa así? Mirad. Mirad lo de la izquierda, lo de la derecha, el cubo ese. Qué guapo, tío.
Zeke, thank you so very much. We love your rambunctious.
Mira las camisetas que lleva ese de la
Shayo,
llama.
what's up, brother? This is it. Things are getting crazy.
I am overexcited just to see these visual storylines taking place. People from the bottom trying to make the top. These wild cards is coming up too. Let's just jump right in and see what
Yo sería presentador de estas cosas. A mí me gusta. Bueno, chicos, vamos a por la quinta partida, ¿vale? Ya se está tirando, así va el autobús, así se está tirando. ¿Te imaginas, Johnny? Chavales, mirad cómo se tiran todos a la vez. Ok, Martín, adiós. Cada uno va a una ciudad, a poblado, a chiringuito.
How are these guys going to survive retail? Are they going to go to retail? Because teams see that they have it free, they're adapting now. They're rotating off their drops a little bit earlier. They're getting third party.
And we talked about another trio just briefly. Aqua, Chinkin, and Stompy. But before we get there, let's see the camo squad right here is going to catch Dollar C even off the boogie bomb
Primera eliminación. Primera eliminación. A polvorín solo ha ido un trío. Si es que van, cada trío va a cada ciudad, no van dos tríos, ¿sabes? Es muy difícil. Bueno, no es difícil, que ellos intentan que no repetir en ese sentido.
Is trying out different things to try to find an edge, right? It's grand finals. The big thing to actually touch on is that every placement kind of matters for the overall prize pool.
Yes.
So you are trying to go for that top spot, the first place, but if you're 20th, reaching
Tomás,
is a big
Clusia
jump.
y Elocracts.
So here we have a
Chicos,
little
13 espectadores. Si vamos dejando un like, se agradece un montonazo. Estamos viendo la final de tríos de la semana de la Champions esta que hay, ¿vale? Que van haciendo toda la semana. Se ha llevado la táctica en vez de la otra, ¿no? Ok, Josepe. Hola, róbaselo, Iker.
They've adapted. They've shown that they can actually be flexible with their landing strategies, and we saw huge success in the early game last game.
Yep, we see counter
Yo ahí spamearía todo, en plan, cogería todas las balas de todo. ¿Te imaginas que le reto? Oh, Iker, rétale. Un punto lleva solo este. Qué poco. Solo lleva un punto. ¿Te imaginas? Qué poco. Las otras partidas se ve que no han tenido suerte, ¿no?
That's right. In the first game, we saw Camo fall victim for being by himself. This time around, Harmy sticking close by his duo or trio here. Pepper is
Para que tú veas que eso depende del día, y que va con la skin de Batman. Uy, las granaditas, qué malas son.
Let's go ahead and take a look here. Pepper is off in this, so he's on Viking. They have quite the pinch, but dude, if they get collapsed on, it's still a 2.
Este sigue looteando mientras los otros dos se pelean.
So this is not where you want to be. If anything, you want to take this fight to the left-hand side. Nice little cone over and ramp play right there. But Camel's gonna fall.
Fétida de quiénes son.
Yep, right now at the moment as well, this is kind of like insurance versus strength in numbers. Very nice disengage as well, playing for that insurance. Not only do they have individual shockwaves in their inventory, kind of switch up the game and how it's played in the fight.
No sé qué tontería más grande acaba de hacer.
Up top, kind of the overlord of the situation, looking and seeing, hey, you know,
Se están yendo.
here, I got the playbook. You might want to back up.
Ni idea, bro. Creo que 5 partidas, Nicolás.
And that's what I wanted to talk about, right? We saw Camo going to the right in that battle, and that means he's only getting out of line of sight of their Overwatch, their Pepper up on the high ground right there. So now that he has that angle, he can really come down and ping any of these guys. But looks like this trio wants to make a push here. They're going for the natural high ground. The shockwaves are coming out, and suddenly they're burning through very valuable utility here. You don't want to waste your shockwaves this early. It's a blessing in disguise to even have them to kind of lead up, and just to burn through that right now, it's gotta hurt them. It's gonna hurt them in the long run.
Yeah, we talk about it as well. They're burning a lot right now on defense, right? Usually we see all ends off the offensive. You can clearly see the decisions Matso's making on the push, but Camo using all his
Los otros van detrás a tope, si te das cuenta.
Matso and Miro both using separate shockwaves to get the Pepper. It looks like everyone has some type of rotation at the moment. It's all being used early. This does implement and have a big factor on their mid game as well. They might have to just commit to this fight straight up and then think about everything afterwards.
Well, now look at this. The angles have a lot.
El de arriba, como sean de listo, le mete. ¡Qué buena! ¡Qué bien la ha hecho, loco! No tiene materiales, tío. Claro, claro, es lo que más importa. Hombre, a no ser que te hagas muchas kills. Pero, por ejemplo, yo creo que entre ganar y aguantar hasta el final te da bastantes puntos. Entonces...
What is he gonna do?
Right now, Miro has everything on lock by himself. He has to be up there. It is a 2v1, but he is isolated at the moment. Amplify dropping down some support off the top. Quick angles coming in, but there's too much shield.
Está muy tocado.
One shot knock off. Miro dropping all the way to low ground to regroup, understanding, hey, we have a number
Están muy tocados todos.
But it looks like Pepper actually has more HP than both these guys combined off his shield. There is a campfire ticking, I believe, somewhere. Not actually getting hit on the Miro at the moment. He's going to be taking a chug jug. Can Pepper hear it before it pops off?
Se le está cubriendo. Para que se tome un bidón. 27. Joder, está muerto. Estaba muy muerto. Pues creo que sí, bro. Que si acabas, por ejemplo, dan premio hasta bastante para atrás. No tienes que quedar uno de los primeros solo para recibir. Si queda un número, en plan el 50, también te dan bastante dinero. Mitro, Monreal. En la partida de antes han caído otra vez en el mismo sitio. A ver esta partida qué tal. Pero es que aquí con los zombies no veas.
Mitro making a place in the low ground here. Karashi Kong and their third is up top. Out comes a shockwave play, beautifully done. It's going to take that high ground. There's someone nearby. Can Mitro win this fight? We saw him lose.
Se queda sin materiales, Mitro.
Victim to a trap play indeed, and now he's out of.
Dios, la han matado.
Just showing that Karashi makes the better of him right here.
Monreal, a ver qué hace. Uy, minigun.
Right now that shockwave actually did give them a little bit of space to work with, but left Mitro isolated, right? We've seen in some of the qualifying weeks that shockwave had a huge effect. Benji now, it looks like he's the last alive, does get some Elam points.
He's clutching up right here. He's clutching up. He hit that shot that Siphon's.
No sé si lo va a salvar o.
The third party has arrived. Another trio's here. Makes a quick edit. Benji is nuts with it.
Buah, se ha sacado, se la ha sacado, tío. Tío. Qué agobio lo que hacen, una mejilla.
Mongrel has a timer on his clock too. This could prove so bad for them ultimately at the end. A pickup from Marcus C and Catcher coming in, adapting their game style early game. A bit too much for the plate of MMB to handle. They've got
La ha matado, tío.
But it's not over. It is not over, Monster. It's literally not over. There's another team, I think, that just came over, or yeah, I see all kinds of players here. Another squad lands, and what is happening? It could be just because of the way the zone is it's pushing down from retail. Catcher's so low here. He's barely clinging on to life right now, and Marcus is holding on.
Mira, saca un seto. ¿Qué hace con un seto? Qué loco. Bueno, al menos Monreal y eso se ha conseguido unos puntos, pero bueno.
And this fight is dragged on so long as well, right? You use utility a lot in the beginning. Oh no, both players go down at the same time. Kesher, Marcus out of the competition. Lukey, Smiley, Arter, everyone else has one game left, but these guys have to play out this full game and another one afterwards as well.
Let me tell you guys what happened. Mongrel, Benji, Mitro get into a fight. They handle that fight. They end up coming out victorious. Third party comes in. They come in. They win the cleanup. Kesher and crew. And then the last squad comes in and wipes that up, all because of the way the zone was kind of favoring. Maybe it was because of the frustration expressed on social media. You can't tell, you can't show people that you're affected. You can see it literally coming into play now.
Yep, the toppling domino effect.
That's right.
You can't, the tilt, the amount of people coming into the drop. Right now, retail is no longer the focus, though.
It's no longer safe.
It's no longer safe either. You can't just, you can't have freebies. You can't have freebies. No, we're focusing on crew, though, now. We're seeing his trio doing a lot of ingenuity with themselves as well, with the nades, the actual choices they implement, and when they actually take them in the mid and end game. The entire leaderboard after this game, the amount of trios that went down that were high up.
¿Por qué son los peores?
It's anyone's game, it seems like, for those mid-tier.
Pues llevan 33 puntos, no van muy mal.
That's right, and a monstrous shot coming out of crew here, showing why the infantry rifle is a fan favorite for these competitive players. Neek is going to go down right there. Can he actually follow up? There's a battle going there, so that's probably going to convert in just a bit. There's also a squad right underneath him. The MCES boys are huddled up right underneath. They hear the shots. They can use this opportunity to sneak up because
porque se pusieron a fichar a lo loco.
Probably not going to here.
Ah, el team. Claro, que el chaval este a lo mejor no, ¿no? A lo mejor este chaval es más bueno.
Yep, and Orc is actually, we talked about whether the MC or the trio that's actually on the side of this hill. Yeah. It's their favorite position at the moment. Yep, the confirmed Elam at this point in the game as well from their position. very hard to get free points. We talked about the wavelengths you want to be on when you're playing these
No, la que ahí hay en una mejilla, yo es que me quedo
collect all your
flipando.
points. How do you accumulate them? Are you playing for end? Are you looking at different things? Very smart from crew as well.
Mira, esta gente aquí de tranqui, ¿sabes?
Not attract too much attention, as well as the soul grenades, right? They have the potential to get them down during the game.
16 puntitos, yo creo que esta gente lo que van a intentar es aguantar.
Trying their best to control the area. Let's see if Clement and his team can control this area. As we've seen Bad Sniper have some plays this weekend. Nice little shot right there. It's not going to come in. It's not going to connect. But now he's in a little bit of a box battle here. It is a brick wall, so it's kind of tough.
Se ha cargado uno.
Doesn't matter. Belvid is going to fall down.
Asegura, sí. 17 puntos. Bueno, pues al final se han puesto a pelear con esta gente.
That's going to convert. This entire team is so healthy.
Yeah, but there is more teams left in the storm with another knock as well. Looks like when you do have all these lanes coming in, the big POIs that have things such as
Pero flipo lo de los cubos, lo hacen automáticamente.
If loot pads connect, it can ruin games, and you can see that right now. This big mid-game fight on the storm line now. Looks like time is not of essence for
Después de esto, ceno y ya haré el directo de por la noche.
The Elam points getting shuffled up early on. 64 players left alive. It's chaos on all sides of the map. Snow, grass, desert, doesn't matter.
But it's not over yet because that team coming out of the zone is hot on their tails right now, and they've claimed a stake on the mountain nearby. So as Clement, Hobby, and Bad Sniper wrap this battle up, they're just listening to the shots firing down, and there it is now. It's their turn to turn in and trade shots. And this is aggressive. They probably had chug splashes, if I had to guess, to get their health back
Tienen más
up.
gente
And that's
otra vez,
exactly
tío.
what happened. It's Scalar and his crew here.
Están rotando un poquito, se están yendo.
To stick around and linger around. If a team wrapped up that battle, you
La
can see
gente va a aprovechar para recuperarse.
Yeah, the priorities are kind of changing and ever changing depending on how much time there is left on each engagement, right? You want to get to the next zone. You can't even see it on
Mira
the
la
map
agua
just
este,
yet.
coge.
It's a little bit more south on the map as well. Rivers nearby too. You want to be able to traverse that as well as provide pressure. So very smart not to tunnel vision on that too much, because you don't want to be in a position that you're trying to, you're holding someone, you don't want to be held at the end of the day. So smart disengage.
After the first game jitters, we no longer see any teams affected by Storm Surge this time around.
Pues llevan muy buena arma, Este por lo menos. Vale, Johnny. Le han quitado el seto. Le quitaron el seto. Sí, pero hay gente que solo está viendo y que sí te está dando cuenta. Pero bueno, no me importa. ¿Qué tal, Jaime? Deja tu like. Pues esta gente con 43, si antes tenía los primeros 48. No sé cómo irán los primeros, pero ahora mismo esto iba en los segundos, y si los otros no lo hacen bien, esta gente se puede poner otra vez primero. Llevan buenas armas los tres. Muy mal lo tienen que hacer y ponerse a lo loco, porque ahora mismo este lo veo yo muy a lo loco. Estará acostumbrado a jugar estos tipos de torneos.
Yes, they don't have max materials right now, but they also don't have to sacrifice any material to hold the cause here on the mountain. They can just kind of stick around and watch the field unfold, which is going to be.
Porque no encuentro otra miniatura, bro. Adiós, Julia. Voy a buscar alguna miniatura. Que no encontraba otra miniatura, tío. A ver.
Elements of low ground as well to hide behind cover with. Monster, if you have more mats near the end of the game and the game actually drags on longer into the 9th zone, what type of patterns do you see?
He puesto final trío y me salía esa, ¿no?
It's about holding your own down and trying to figure out where you want to stake your claim here, but the zone is going to push everyone out. So, although our champion trio up there is looking pretty right now, they are going to have to make a move, and the team that was underneath them makes a move first, claiming the drop. They're actually going straight for the drop, so that's going to be a money play right here. G2, Tohash, Caxi, and Bella EU, one of our most consistent teams so far in the running right now. They can steal the show today if they can make another monstrous performance. There's so many squads in the running right here. Probably the most competitive we've seen. No one really in the lead by far. I think all teams in the top 10 have a fair shot at taking away the FNCS championship for the European region right now.
It's a grand match indeed. These two matches will define so much for the future of these players, their mentalities going forward in other games as well, in other competitions. It's going to be a historic moment for a lot of people, winning or defeating either way.
All right, snipes are coming in at Bella EU there. He is going to get a couple more tags. Seeing some blue, but no white, so no reason to get too thirsty here. Squads are now coming in, and this is one of the most dangerous end zones that you can see in the game. Notice up in the left-hand corner, Aqua and his team are staying on the mountain, staying on the high ground, not committing the center zone just yet, because you don't want to overcommit. If you have to battle for the mountain, you want to be there first. You don't really want to have to, battle your way up. But here comes the focus fire coming in. Couple marks making, and squads are just moving across right now. We didn't see a first storm surge, but this next one is looking highly likely that we'll see a storm surge.
Ahora mismo no.
Look at the investment everyone is making at the moment. Metal builds everywhere. You've got shield bubbles being instantly put down on base ups off of launch pads. And if you don't do it, you can see that what happened to Forward right now. You get beamed out, Norward goes down as well. Confirmed elims. You can't be at a low point at the moment. You can't be not investing things prematurely, or you will get focused by the whole server.
A little bit of a greed play here to go ahead and try and claim some of this loot down here. Now they have so much material, they can do things like this, and just having these builds here is going to be that placebo effect.
Así que no lo intente, porque va a ser pana.
More of that center territory. Fnatic Provoke's going to get
Se
taken
acaba de cargar a uno.
as they finally find their first elimination. They're only 36 damage above the damage threshold for Storm Surge. That's what I talk about. I knew this next zone was going to become a problem just because of how condensed the zone was. People are just flying into the middle here, so they have to do more damage right now.
Pusha actually going down to Squalls right there. Milan as well. There's so many people now playing kind of aggressively because of the Storm Surge you mentioned, Monster. It's kind of throwing game plans out of proportion. The wavelengths we touched on early on, if everyone's on that same aggressive W key wavelength, it might just prove fatal for a lot of trios in that mid ground if they want to get involved or not.
Take a look here. They're going to get the first stake at the next set of land, claiming this territory here. Hello, build himself a nice pretty house and a pretty home as they're going to set up real strong. So they have the high ground. We're leading into half in, half out zone. And Andretta is also close by, but look at the pinch here. You have Stompy, Chinkin, and Aqua playing so wide right now, and they want this. They want this. Aqua can say, hey, I'll help you guys get to me.
No te rayo, ¿vale?
You guys stay up there, ping people off the air, because they have zone favor right now. So this next zone is going to be crucial for them as the zone starts to continue over. Here it is. The launch pads are happening. The community plays are going down. Will they be able to find and convert on some elims? They need these knocks here, as there's only 50 players in the lobby. This is the time to cut and slice it down and trim the fat from the game. Take a look at Mr. Savage here. Rockets are coming out, and they've been having a phenomenal day as well. As Item and Rojo,
Ayman, un saludito.
Team that plays so high during the World Cup. They have all the experience in the world to compete under these pressure environments, really, we should say.
Yep, right now Savage as well has so many options in his toolkit and his loadout to use. It's all about surviving and making sure you can use them, playing safe. You'll notice he's making boxes and running back into pre-built builds to actually make sure those boxes build up first, then he's in them safely. No risk being taken at all, if any. And now the investment as well. You shoot a rocket, you have to follow up. You only have 3. Can he pick up more? 8 rockets now. Fills up on shockwaves as well. Full chug splashes. The classic infantry pump loadout, but did they overthink it? Zone coming in. So many teams now next to them. Hopefully they have a launch to get out of this situation.
That's what we like to call an impact elimination. One of those mid-game elims that replenish your entire squad and gives you the valuable resources that you need to carry on. 8 rockets is going to pay huge if they can stay in the game, because that's going to be their way to take that high ground.
Chicos, dejando un like, suscribiros, por favor.
If they manage to get there too.
Yep, and let's talk about information. You saw Stompy, Chicken, and Aqua up top having height before this zone moves. You can see exactly where it's moving with the actual natural low ground on your mini map. And then if you're on mid ground / low ground, you won't have that information, right? That's how people get beamed. That's how they overlaunch. Item actually getting that pyramid peak lets these guys half bad, knowing exactly what's in front of them, be in this position, catch trios rotating in past them as well, since they don't know. Deja goes down. Item now investing one of those 4 RPGs. Looks like
Uy, se saqué ahí en el aire por la cara.
as well, both gold. Big loadouts available too.
Madre mía, tío.
Look at that overview of the map. Everyone's in here for the last 2 games of Europe.
That's right, and they're trying their best to stick around and stay around here.
Es un poco locura lo que hay ahí.
Going for the high ground. They actually still hold the high ground because they've had zone favor thus far. And Dreda's gonna get beamed down right here. He
Es un
can't fall
poco
down
locura,
right now.
chicos.
There's no way. You still have Falcony, the Vic, and Robobs in the running on the storm line right here. We know they're our team to look out for. They're in the lead. They've been so consistent so far. Here comes a Shockwave. It's every man for themselves.
Esta gente del Falconi son los que van primero. Esta gente van primero.
In such a good place for the end game. 61 pop right here. There's a player nearby. There goes a Siphon, and he's got to be happy about that point right now. But it's not over. Robab's in a
Esta gente son los primeros. Oh, matan a uno. Han muerto ya. 51 puntos. No sé si habrán quedado primero al final. Porque el Aqua sigue vivo y el Aqua también lleva bastantes puntos. No, pero ve, siguen primero. A no ser que ganen esta. Tienen muy pocos materiales. Dios, cómo le han entrado las balas ahí.
Maxed out because all you can really do is shoot and drop down. Aqua and Chicken out held up on one floor. Can Tohaj see that? No, actually, the zone bounces back. Although this is usually very, very good for height, it's so much better at this moment because Tohaj is going to be enticed.
Tienen ya 50 puntos.
For himself to conserve mats.
They've committed so much that they haven't found eliminations even with the high.
Se van a poner primero esta gente, tío. Se van a poner primeros. Si es que le da bala a todos, tío. Donde dispare da balas. Dani Hernández, ¿qué tal? Quedan 10 todavía. Deleteado. Fua. Oh. La que le ha dado, brother. Ojo. Se pueden poner primero estos también, Ahora mismo solo voy a mirar el directo. Esta noche ya jugaré. 50 puntos han puesto, tío. Dios. Se han puesto primero, tío. Qué locos.
I did not expect this trio to be the one to come out on top. So many storylines clashing against each other on the side of Storm, on height, on running out of ammunition. Sundown, tell me what these players invested. Tell me what they lost in this game.
Well, I mean, Boyer and crew invested a lot and they got it. MMB lost a lot and they are now up against it going into the last match. Europe doesn't disappoint. We're going to get straight into the standings because that's what I want to talk about.
La clasificación.
I mean, first, it's just like Boyer, Motor, Verox, 23.
Montreal ha bajado al 10º puesto, tío. Madre mía, los 4 primeros están empatados casi.
Tohaj, Beliu, Caxi, Falcony, Robobs, the Vic, all on 51 points. However, Shinken, Stompy, Aqua, Boyer right there getting the victory house. That's going to be the first tiebreaker. One thing to note, let's go all the way down. You can see MMB down there, but they are 16 points clear. A victory royale is 15 points. That means every single person on this page, every single trio going into the final match. There are no runaway trains here. Everybody is in play. Every engagement matters. If you take a fight against one of these teams, you could be sending someone out of the lobby and dropping someone in your contention. It comes down to the final match, and it couldn't be closer. I mean, just look at some of the names up here. We talked about Tohaj, Bella, and Caxi. Boyer, the original one to turn it on and go. The World Cup qualifying stars, Shinken and Stompy, with the duo World Cup champion Aqua in second place. I mean, it is loaded. And then also, Smiley, Luki, and Arthur are having a great day as well. They have been in every single endgame, anchoring in with only the 14 points, but rotating incredibly well and being there. I mean, it's so absurdly close, and this is the best of the best. 5 games down, 1 game left, but we're gonna take a look at some of the highlights that came in from this last game, get you caught up on maybe some of the moments you might have missed. So this is the retail fight we've been talking about, and actually going back and checking some of the early games, Kong and crew really wanted to contest MMB the first 2 games. They were looking for it and looking to scout in third party as they hit onto the Cube Fiends. The key being, though, they didn't roll the Brute, and in the first 2 games, MMB didn't separate. MMB off the start were tight on top of each other, looking to see if anybody was coming in, and then spread out. That was the difference in matches 3, 4, and 5. This time they came through and contest. You can see the Gamers Origin crew now looking to try and pick up as many points as possible. They're just on the outside looking in as well. Daedra putting up a great individual effort there. Now you can see Imagine, Takar, and Krace getting the Solari nades out, making sure they line them up, using all 10, and the tags coming through onto the Gambit duo plus Dementos, and you can see Tokar just throwing some shots over there, making sure they can
¿Cómo se han hecho eso aquí, la vez? Qué flipada.
It's all about Boyer. Originally it was Vamos España, but now Boyer is bringing it all back, returned to form. Looks like he was reborn, playing with Motor and Barracks, a different level of communication, a different level of skill and mentality. They are going at players. They want to fight, and particularly we have now seen 2 low ground victory royales coming out, very different from the high ground gameplay, and it's just nice to see someone who hasn't necessarily been right back at the top returning to form. It's a redemption story.
La verdad que son muy buenos todos los que entran aquí, me quedo flipando.
Into first place, 5 eliminations coming out there, 3 for Verox, 23 points, and they currently sit 3 points clear of that 3-way fracas in second to fourth. But the stage is set. The games are ready. 5 are down, 1 to go, and I couldn't think of anyone better to bring it home than Monster D and Showager. Gentlemen, close it on out.
Sundown, thank you so very much, and exactly like you said, we couldn't have had a closer running in these final moments. There are so many teams in contention here. It could be anyone's game right now, Kyle. We're in the Europe Finals Game 6.
A ver qué tal.
This is the defining moment for all of these guys. Who will be the Season X champion of Europe?
That question is going to be answered sooner than
Spique,
later.
suscríbete, bro. Buen chiste, buen chiste. Suscríbete y deja un like, por favor. Elizabeth, suscríbete, todavía no se sabe. Mongreal está en la 10ª posición. Aqua en la 2ª o en la 3ª. No sé, ahora mismo todavía no se sabe. Mamá, ¿puede ir al cine con mi amigo a ver Titanic 2? Mamá, esa no sale, pues tú tampoco. Qué tontería.
A weird change of events as Mongrel and his crew has also decided to land in Gotham City. So they're trying to switch it up in the final game here. They need a big point. They know they need a big turnaround because they fell from their consistency. They were targeted at
Mongreal ha caído ahí en lo nuevo de Batman. A ver qué hacen. Tienen 38 puntos, el primero tiene 54 puntos. No sé qué pasará.
He as well is in Gotham City too. So it can only be one person's city. Mr. Wayne's not here right now. Who's going to be the one to claim the title of Gotham?
You cannot count out Amplify and his team who've been sticking here, stride and true.
Se están yendo, no sé por qué.
So I like what's going on here. Benji and Mitro say, hey, let's get some guns, let's get out of here. We actually don't want to fight all these squads. It's too much of a risk. So instead they're going to rotate in and make someone else's day miserable.
Yeah, look at the effect on the mental. One of the most confident trios on Twitter, on social media, in game as well with their actions, disengaging an early drop. Unprecedented, I've never seen it before, but Game 6 brings out the strategy and the bold choices you must make to survive and gain those points later on if possible when you're playing in the Fortnite Grand Finals.
Chicos, si hay gente nueva, que deje su like y se suscriba. Y compartir, por favor. Tiago Aveiro, deja tu like. Están poniendo a base de setas un poquito de escudo. Llevan muy malas armas, muy pocos materiales. Uy, qué rico sorbete se va a tomar. Qué rico sorbete se va a tomar Montreal.
This drop, actually, the split of just taking 2 buildings from Gotham, then moving to Shifty, unlooted as well.
Le ha dejado los mini a los compis.
And it's not just dropping at a POI.
There's a team here. So, can they perform outside of their native home, the retail Roadlands? Of course they can, but they have to put it together.
Se están recuperando, la verdad.
They have enough loot at this point. All right, Benji Fish coming down here. The fight has already began. They have someone tunneled in and start.
Mitro se ha quedado, vaya.
They're boosting their way through that build.
Han matado uno.
Go down right away. And now that Elam is theirs, and they're all 3 huddled up here. This is not the team you want to get into a box fight with at all, Shayo.
Not even that. The worst thing you can do for MMB when you're facing them is giving them confidence, giving them momentum. Might have been lost in these earlier games, but having these hard mats of metal early on, having attack SMG combined with a tactical shotgun, nades and minis to boot with full shields, even if
Mitro le echan una fétida, bueno ya no, pero si llega a echar una fétida y se muere.
It's going to be a insane game early on in the Fortnite Grand Finals.
Hopping over to the other side of the map, you can see teams that were by retail now. Frey, Raze, and Doozy going in for the fight here. They have the high ground. They're in a battle, but someone's going to get rocked from the side there as Poocher gets taken out, and their teammate Doozy gets traded as well. So the down has happened. Quick little ramp reset right there. He's waiting for the edit, makes it. That's a white shot. You know he's going to go for the next one.
Bien la ha hecho, la verdad.
Can he find a third right now as things start to slow down here? Doozy's still knocked though, so they can get the save off.
Yep, this is insane too because they're at 10 points right now, right?
Yes.
Every point gained when it's so close to the top and the bottom as well,
escalates
them in placement overall within the game.
Fétida.
Solely right now, back against the wall, Raze as well, trying to
El otro no es tonto.
maybe pick up dudes if possible. We'll see what goes on at the moment in this fight. Shockwaves are available though. Once again, a fully fleshed out loadout this early on. Teams are getting even more efficient as they play, but using them at the right time is the proper question, right? Shockwaves have been in the game for so long. I did a breakdown on them earlier in the weeks as well. People are now used to beaming people who use them for an advantage. So timing is crucial for Frey, and timing is crucial for every team in the match at the moment. Just first zone, but it is the last game of the heat. 87 people left alive. Storm Surge is a problem.
So taking a look at Stormy's perspective there, he's gonna eat the
Tenía la de perder, la verdad. Tenía las de perder ese hombre. Ok, Jaime.
Congrats on making it this far. Just gotta give thanks to all the competitors that have pushed throughout the weekend, throughout the qualifiers. This has been a long series of events here, and if you made it this far, you know, you should feel good about yourself. You're still a winner.
Yep, let's recap, right? You have to play through those first 5 weeks. That was mentally straining it up because it was the first time people were actually locked in into picking trios, learning with their team. There was no chance of escape because then you risk losing those consistency points, right? Now you're in those heats as well, dealing with having those 6 games. You lose those early on. You want to be able to keep that momentum, keep that drive, and adapt your playstyles, as we saw MMB even do, the most momentous team, switching and dropping retail to Gotham. So it's a very good growing experience for everyone, regardless of where you place in the grand finals. Even if you did or did not make it, so many instances to learn from in this entire process.
So it looks like Kesher, Marcus, and Trippin probably dropped Amplify, Maso, and their last trio there here in Gotham City as they now own it to themselves with those 3 eliminations, and they could just take free reign over this territory here, get their farm up, and that's going to set them up real nice. We saw so many teams land here, but they are the ones who we're going to call king today of Gotham right now, as we already know, Mongrel, Mitra, and Benji did rotate out 2 shifty shafts. Just taking a look here at the little map, you can see all of this is
Sí, Jaime, porque me he puesto a hacer misiones.
Already happening here, and the rotations are already beginning. If I had to guess, with the amount of teams heading hard south right now, this zone is probably going to go way down south.
Yeah, but let's not forget the point breakdown at the top. We have 2 teams with wins.
Y luego me he puesto a jugar al Call of Duty.
two teams, the Vic, who was actually at the top before this final game 5 that just happened, does not have a victory royale. He needs to get one in the book to make sure, just in case there's a tiebreaker, everything's fine. And once again, mention it in other regions as well, everyone is in the same game. So
En la noche haré privada, bro, entonces no creo.
on the leaderboard has rippling effects to everyone else behind and ahead of them, whether it's making people more uncomfortable or making them, you know, kind of ease their minds knowing that they have a secured placement for themselves. There's a lot to think about for these guys, as well as rotating and getting elims on the move around the map.
Talking about rotations, you can see over at the map, I think it's Camo, Harmy, and Pepper, but no, wait, MMB is on their way back through Gotham City. I recognize those skins right there. Tripper and Kezher and Marcus are about to get into a three-way clash here with one of the strongest trios on the scene right now. They need these elims, they need these points right here, and that's why they're going to be bloodthirsty. They're going to be so hungry to get them, because they have to make it into top 5. They have to battle their way back up the train, back up the ladder here. We should say Benji's in the fray of it. He's in the house. He's hunting here.
Juan, un saludito, bro. Si eres nuevo y te puedes suscribir, se agradece. Pues suscríbete, porfa. Ok, Iker. Todo el mundo que sea nuevo que deje su like y se suscriba.
Use of utility. Let's look at the top 10 as well at the moment too. We got Boyer at top. They just won the last game. Chicken Stop been very consistent on high ground, but have lost 2 of the games too.
Ahí a la derecha tenéis los 5 primeros. Yo después de esta creo que me voy a ir a preparar. Ahora mismo no, después.
Marmer's gonna get taken out there by the SMG play. Very sneaky by Tripper, and he converts on the Elam. That is not what they wanted to happen.
Ahora mismo estamos viendo la final de la Champions, esta, bro, de la World, como la World Cup.
They want this. They get the shot on Benji, and Benji falls with the big 95. Can Micho clutch it in the final moments? But he's of course not.
Están jugando muy mal, loco. Montreal, no sé qué le pasa, pero la han reventado ya varias veces.
This team is on fire right now. Gotham City is theirs. Bye-bye, Clement. Once again, cannot do anything. Tripper is on a rampage here. Kezher's down, though. Marcus is extremely hurt. If they can't get the siphon right here, he's probably going to have to disengage right now, Shayo.
Yep, Tripper's actually going on full throttle.
Se va a curar porque, madre mía, le han dejado tiritando, pero se ha hecho 3 kills y su compañero entre los dos tras 3. Eso está muy bien.
The rev is actually going to be coming right up. This fight might just be disengaged. Remember, every player now in the map also saw exactly who went down, right? The Kings they've fallen.
They've fallen, that's it. They're out of the running, guys. They've had a great run thus far, and they have fallen indeed. But the respectful disengage here. Clement says, hey, listen, Trip, you hit me pretty hard. That was a nice trade. I'm out of here, buddy. You can have Gotham City, the Kings of Gotham, survive the running. Can they make it to endgame now? As we jump back into Stompy, Chinken, and Aqua, we saw them hold this position before. Unfortunately now, Zone Favor is not with them, so they're already moving.
Todavía quedan 74, ¿vale? Madre mía. Qué abuso. Esta gente va en segunda posición, me parece, o no sé qué posición es. Pero esta gente son muy buenos.
The back half of the points, the 15 for the victory royale, all the elims you can get on Storm. Oh my god, actually, look, breaking it down. The trio's actually bunched up on this mountain, on the snow side, on the transfer towards Fatal Fields. They're in the top 5. This is going to be actually momentous in terms of if there's a knock, if there's a tag, on how people are moving, because everyone is a little bit trigger happy. Bella EU actually,
I love what just happened.
Oh my.
Aqua with the money grenade shots.
¿Cómo son las fétidas,
Forcing a shield bubble to come down, but it's not
Las
going to be
fétidas es lo
enough.
mejor que hay.
Disengage here. Tohaj, Caxi, and crew need to get out. Can Bella EU back up in time? They're all so hurt. Aqua's not going to let him go. He's a World Cup champion here. He's not going to let him go. They're under pressure here. Okay, all right. He decides it's not enough. They back up just far enough. They're doing so good, consistency-wise. They don't want to go for it. Little do they know, though, that's some of their biggest competition right there.
Yup, the tunnel vision's not there, which is great, but this is kind of the journey they've been through in this entire match, right? They've been hit so hard in the beginning and early on. Now they know the extent of you have to kind of bulk up, and oh my god,
doble headshot, tío, y lo mata,
looking shady underneath the tree. Not enough time
Me
for
quedado.
objects in front of you to save yourself, my man. Split off of his trio in the river. That Elam's gonna be confirmed. Remember, it was a 3-point difference for these guys.
Lo que le ha dado, tío. Vaya nivelazo que hay,
We'll see if
¿verdad?
this is gonna be enough, and these mats and utility dropping gonna be enough for these guys to have a more advantage in the late game.
Slowly but surely, they're closing that gap there indeed. Crew, Chapix, and their last teammate, Beehive, is here in Fatal Fields. We also have Savage, Item, and Rojo. All of our top 5 contenders so close to one another. These guys are all in the top 10 running here to take away the FNCS finals. Every single engagement matters because it is that close in the final leaderboard. If you fall, you give away your position to another team who's only climbing that much higher. That's how close it is right now.
Yep, and it's Savage's actual second chance, a very similar loadout that we saw before. He has the shockwaves and the RPG.
Drake, ¿qué tal? 5 personas, Rift directo. Es normal, bro. Pero no pasa nada. Hemos llegado a tener 13. Chicos, suscribiros todos los nuevos, porfa. No pasa nada, hay que... Yo lo sabía, y más si he empezado tarde. Pero bueno, no pasa nada.
Item, Rojo, and Savage are in the 5th place right now. Crew, Chapix, and Beehive are in 8th place. Caxi, Tohaj, and their teammate, they're so high. They're in 3rd place with Bella EU.
Para que tú veas, Iker, pero depende del título. Vale, Jaime. Cuando yo no estoy jugando privadas, pues la gente no es lo mismo, porque cuando... Si no juego, por ejemplo, privadas, también me ven a lo mejor menos, pero me ven 15 o por ahí. Creo que estos son españoles. Creo que son españoles porque hay otros youtubers que lo estaban viendo. ¿Me lo puedes confirmar, Iker? Vale, Jaime. Pues entonces no sé por qué lo estaban viendo. Y qué buena lo que le hay.
Pate and Andretta actually connect so hard right there. Another one. Fish Skin is just going to give it away.
Wow.
They know he's not on the team. Down goal Scalar to the fall right there. And this squad was in 10th or 11th place. Ritz, Andretta, and Pate were in the running, so all of these Elans propelled them way high up as that's a 4-point swing in their favor.
Yep, just look at the defensive trigger finger, instantly just dropping shield bubbles anywhere that's possible, taking bold edits without hesitation. Once again, using another shield bubble, which are so crucial on reaction, but now this is pro-reactive. Andretta in the driver's seat usually as the IGL when things go bad in the trio. He's the one always working within chaos. He knows that, hey, I don't want to be in this situation anymore. Endgame hasn't even started yet. Let's get situated and then let's move after that. Now the field is kind of calm. We don't see many people going down. This is where all the strats are being made up, Monster. What would be the best play to make for the trios at the top?
Gotta claim a mountain. Do what Stompy, Chinkin, and Aqua are doing
Joder,
right now.
está tenso esto, en verdad,
Left, and I'll correct myself. Andretta, Ritz, and Pate are actually in 7th when we last checked in, so they are so high in the running. But you have to claim some of that high ground. Get a zone to pass by without any, anything too crazy. Because if you're out here in the fields, this is rough. This is the worst case scenario for you.
Yep, right now this clue show is just hesitation. On the mini map, you can see it as well. People see the zone, but I guess everyone's just calming so hard right now and spending so much time in these hard-built mats on the edge. They're kind of wrecking themselves before their game even starts. It is game 6. There's a lot of pressure at the moment, but you can't let that hinder moving forward.
¿Qué tal, Víctor? Yo me llevaría una minigun siempre. Bien, bro, aquí estamos viendo el torneito de tríos.
Gets into a shield bubble, instantly using hard mats as well. Very smart, that 6-game process, learning exactly what you need to do. Has very good tools to use from this range as well. Heavy sniper, infantry rifle, very good tools to actually get those damage spots done and take these one-off shots from odd angles. We'll see if this trio can use this position on edge.
Toda la hora, como toda la hora.
And move forward on their rotation.
Our first place team, E11 Warrior Vurox and Mortar sitting close by just underneath them. right there. Now take a look. We have Left Eye, Saipan, Red Rush up in the high ground, Caxi, LAU, and Tohaj just below that. They're all in the safe zone right now. Mind you, beautiful stinkers coming out, just hitting that clutter zone over there of builds, and that's why they're pressuring. Because remember,
Las partidas que siempre vienen bien. Se la han cargado, tío. Sí, llevo todo el rato haciendo esto, bro.
Just been consistent so far today, and that's what you like to see, new faces rising up here. But Stompy, Chinkin, they have the zone.
You think that those are the orange markers on the mountain?
Yes,
there's no way. There's no way.
Yes,
it is. The prime time position, the only mountain
Tiene todo el mundo 50 y algo de puntos.
From this zone, it is the Kings now reigning over the region. MMB is down, Chicken Stompy, Aqua.
Esta gente tiene la puta zona, tío. Esta gente tiene la zona y madre mía, si veis el minimapa están todos fuera y ellos están dentro.
One Elam already down on Stompy, so these guys do have a lot of the pressure that they took off the trio they got the Elam with. We saw that in the river before, so they own this whole backside. Using this position, have elevated ground as well. I mentioned this with Lupo the other day, right? When people launch pad, which they will, to them, they're going to deploy right in front of their faces. Having these ARs is going to be huge for these guys.
They just got to drop to land right above their
Mira,
heads.
mira, mira, mira cómo empiezan a rotar todo, chicos. Mirad. Se queda pillado, pero por culpa del internet de ellos.
Just propels them with a huge swing. So here comes the grenades. This is going to be huge pressure. It's just going to trickle down the mountain as well. Remember, these explodes are going to crack open and fracture all of the builds. Taking a look at a little aerial view here, you can see.
Madre mía, la que hay liada, chicos. Hay 47 personas en el quinto círculo, ¿vale? 47 personas. Pa' un descuido está. ¿Cómo lo han hecho, loco? Me cago en 10, tío. Ello es, una vez que lo hacen, lo aciertan el combazo. Esta gente son muy buenos, tío. Esta gente son muy buenos.
They still have the favorable spot. Yep, every single AR shot too, with how they've kind of structured people to stop in front of them and build up, will hit harder.
Ya tienen que rotar.
For that max damage, the damage drop off will not be there if they stick close enough to the ground. The big thing is though, there's so many other shockwaves in the game on other trios. The lower you are, the more risk you kind of run. With these shockwaves coming on unexpectedly out of hard mats, you can't predict it. But let's see if the accuracy is high enough for this god trio to get
Dios,
mosquitoes
qué susto.
all over the server. They have the swatters. Can they get any?
Ya le beneficia.
Before this end game rotation starts, Chinkin is on the lead.
Dios, qué susto, loco. No pueden perder la altura, la verdad. El high, la altura no la pueden perder, pero Dios, tío, es que meten los hechos como como agua. Meten los hechos como nada, tío. Es como
Stompy is putting down the shots here. So Upsy Daisy he goes here. There's still 36 players remaining. Falcony falls down in the feed, unfortunately for him. And Ben, oh my gosh, you just look at the feed lighting up. There goes Mitro. There goes another. As these guys are looking for the shots right now. Can't Stompy find another right here. It's not looking quite
de la que se ha salvado.
Just yet. They still have shield bubbles too if they have to protect any of their back layers here.
Yep, tarping out. Chinkin's on top. They're going to be contesting a little bit, but going to stay up. They're only on one tarp, though. Aqua on the back defending, but if there's an immediate shot towards Stinkin and Chop, Chinkin and Stompy, that's a bad problem for them. They're going to drop down. The big thing is wall monster. Look at this Motor goes down. We have the duo together who perform so well in Worlds together. And
pues le quedan pocas balas.
Who knows the plays, who's won the competition at the back. It's a genius split, very efficient at the moment. The only thing they have to care about and watch out is for their mats.
No sé cómo lo va a hacer.
Here's why it's perfect. They're so high that they cannot be affected by shockwave, so it doesn't matter. Like Chinkin might get hit down, but they won't. They're still way up top. And there
Se queda
comes
sin
the
bala.
assistance, if you want to call it that. This could be a crucial loop delivery for more materials as they fight their way up.
Tampoco tiene
Can they get it
materiales.
right here? And Dretta's still in the running. Pate catches Daedra, and Chapix catches another. There goes M10 Pepper getting taken out right there. Bye to him. Can they
No,
find
no,
another
esto
minute?
es, sigue el
It's gonna be
torneo.
X8, and it's looking like this trio is going to take it away right now if they can just continue to hold out. It's not over yet. G2 Tohaj is still in the game too.
Se ha partido las piernas.
At the moment, 14 people left alive. Looks like there's 9 trios placement. It's still good to go around. Amazingly,
Esta gente la tiene muy bien en esta partida.
half and half from the fourth zone, from the top of the mountain. Now they're on the top of the leaderboards. Shield bubble still there. Heavy sniper to add some flavor into any limbs they can get. Shields being popped.
¿Qué tal, Vladi? Un saludito.
Competition below him. There's wood mats now. Players are running out of the important materials to defend them from the game. Nick up top, just look at the actual HP at the moment. No one's actually peeked out, and if they do, Nick's health bar gets depleted. They have eyes, not even 6, but it seems like 12. A million eyes on the whole server, top down, Monster.
That's right, but it's not over yet. We did see Virox for a second in the feed there. We know he's the first place, so he's still getting placement as the server continues to go on. It's anyone's game right now, but can they continue to close out? I love it. Chinkin goes all the way up, trying to stay safe right now. Here comes Stomp. He's going to fall down. He's one that gets down and dirty for these elims right here. He has to get in the box plays. Only 9 builds remain. They have the ammunition. They actually have everything. This time around, they're finding some elims.
6 people left alive, 4 trios up. There still is 1 more, 2 more placements to go with the victory royale. Now the downsprout of builds have to come down. Waterfalls need to be there. Shockwaves go up. It's a beam. Nikeva goes down. It's a 3v1 at the moment. The big shotgun. The victors of the region. Stompy, Chinkin, Aqua, take it home. The Europe
Han
Finals.
ganado otra
Game
vez.
6, the grand final. Winners of the region, 76 points. The victory royale.
10 eliminations from the trio right here,
Y-
showing why they're
Pues bueno,
a close
chicos,
trio. Can they bring it all the way home? We'll find out shortly with Sundown
Han
and
ganado
Zeke
esta
in the
gente.
studio.
I mean,
It's pretty definitive.
yeah, I mean, they're in first place.
No, no tengo sueño, solo que estoy mirando el móvil, si te
Everyone
fijas.
else dropping all the way out.
Eh,
And I mean, what more could you ask for? The World Cup
El torneo no ha terminado,
terror
Josepe.
of Shinkin and Stompy
No
back
inventes.
with a vengeance
Si no sabes, no
and
hables.
the World Cup
Vale.
champion.
Pues chicos, voy a cortar por aquí el directo. Nos vemos esta noche después de cenar, sobre las 10, cosas así, que me dé tiempo. Y nada, chicos, me gustaría hacer más veces esto. Y acaba de terminar el torneo ahora. Vaya. Lo mismo que estoy viendo ya ahora, bro. Hombre, es que no puede ir igual de tiempo. Montreal se ha llevado 9.600 euros. 9.600 euros.
All the way up into second place. Boyer again making it into the end game, the victory royale clutch being the
Vale,
difference there.
pues nada chicos, nos vemos. Os espero esta noche. Adiós.